There are roughly 3.5 million refugees, men, women and children, living in tents and temporary shelter all around the world. One of the biggest need and the most immediate need for these people is to provide a roof over their head. And thanks to funding from the IKEA Foundation, we have started a project to design better shelters for these families.
At the IKEA Foundation, we believe that every child should have the right to a safe place to call home. So we've entered into a very unique partnership with the United Nations Refugee Agency and a team of Swedish designers to create a better shelter for refugee children and their families.
For housing, we use many types of temporary shelters, but mainly those are tents. But quite frankly, the tents have not much evolved over the years. They still rely on canvas, ropes and poles. They are hot during the summer and cold in winter. On average, a family will spend 12 years in a camp, so many children grow up calling this shelter home.
Our goal with refugee housing is to revolutionize the refugee tent, or at least to vastly improve it. What we see here is a prototype of a flat-packed house. It is designed this way, like an IKEA bookshelf, to be easy to transport and to be easy to set up in the field.
We're trying to create a more modular approach to shelter, a shelter that is easier to ship, easier to assemble and easier to live in.
It all starts with a frame. All I need to set it up, I have here in front of me. So we have connectors, we have some pipes and a bunch of wires.
Durability is critical. Typically, our tents last only about 6 months due to harsh climate conditions.
These are the refugee housing units panels. They are very, very lightweight and they are durable. They provide insulation and they fit right onto the frame. These can last up to 3 years.
In a refugee camp, typically at 6 o'clock, it becomes dark. Refugee tents have no power at all. So no lights for homework, sewing, cooking and eating.
This is a solar panel that we developed specially for the housing units. It provides electricity to run a light indoors and also energy to your necessities. Lastly, we developed a shade net. It may look like a very simple product, but it makes a significant difference. It reflects the heat, which means that in the daytime you have a cooler environment, but in the night times it reflects back the heat, so you then have it a bit warmer. This is something that a tent or a tarp does not do. If you would not be impressed by the look of it, you would see a significant difference when you're living inside it.
We are starting to test these shelters in Ethiopia, the border with Somalia, learning from the feedback from refugees in order to fine-tune the design of the shelter.
A home is important, but these children also need quality health care, they need education, and they need a decent family income. So we've entered into a long-term partnership with the UN Refugee Agency so that they can provide health care and education and training skills to refugee children and their families in Bangladesh, Sudan, and Ethiopia, and not just with the families and children that live in the camps, but also the surrounding communities.
No doubt in the near future we will continue to make improvement to this shelter. But one thing is for sure, thanks to the IKEA Foundation, UNHCR is bringing an innovative approach to an old problem, giving refugee children and their families a safer place to call home.